Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Kate, the lead designer here at Code the Dream. I'm joined by two talented design apprentices, Asaya and Sophia, and today we'll be sharing our journey of growing a design team over the past year, including how we developed the design apprenticeship program um, and expanded our design capacity. We'll also talk about our learning experiences, and the impact and fun we've made along the way. To kick things off, I'll give you an overview of how our design team has evolved and what we've accomplished this past year. Then Asaya and Sophia will share their personal journeys as designers, highlighting their key projects and lessons learned along the way. After that, I'll discuss what's next for the team, and we'll wrap up with the Q&A session where you can ask us anything. So here's how the design team came together. I started as lead designer in February 2023. Later that year, Essia joined us as a developer apprentice in October, and Sophia came on board just a month later in November. Their arrival couldn't have been better timed. Our design queue was overflowing with projects, and having two apprentices join the team really helped distribute the workload. When building this team, I wanted to make sure we stay connected to Code the Dream's mission. Like many designers and developers too, we can get lost in the details of our craft. But there's something special about Code the Dream. No matter how deep we get into our work, our team keeps us anchored to our purpose. I see it every day in how everyone shows up with such drive and commitment. And as we've grown our design team, we've stayed true to what matters most, creating technology that's truly accessible and empowers diverse communities. So let me share some key highlights of what we accomplished this year. Our team has worked on 10 diverse projects spanning education platforms, community outreach, brand development, and internal resources. One of our biggest impacts has been in education, our code school, Hala, where we transformed multiple user experiences through two versions of our Learns app. By redesigning the Vamos app, we hope to boost efficiency for the very dedicated outreach workers that use it. On the innovation front, we updated the My Friend Ben website and designed apps such as Synthesize and Benny AI. We've strengthened Code the Dream's identity through cohesive social media designs and campaign templates. Most importantly, we've developed collaboration across the organization, providing design guidance and support while encouraging everyone to embrace design thinking. These projects show just how much design can transform the way we work. Here's a table showcasing our year's portfolio. We've established versatility in web, mobile, and brand development. By collaboration between designers, developers, and stakeholders, we've developed and iterated processes with different team sizes. We've jumped on product teams at different stages of development and have gained experience in navigating multiple software development cycles. It is no easy feat and can be overwhelming at times, but we're a small but mighty team, and we've got the support of CTD to power through. With 5 projects shipped and 5 more in development, we've shown our ability to balance rapid delivery with innovation. Working within a code school and dev shop has required adaptability, leading to strong cross-functional communication and accelerated skill development across the team. This portfolio represents not just completed projects, but a maturing design practice that can consistently deliver value while nurturing talent and strengthening collaboration. Now we'll get into developing the design apprenticeship program, design resources, and brief overviews of the projects that I worked on. When Tom asked if I could take on design apprentices, I quickly said yes, because I need a lot of help and was excited to work with other designers. At first, I didn't know where to start, so I researched apprenticeship guidelines and created a program covering the essentials, design principles, and Figma. And Figma is our design tool that we use. When Asaya and Sophia joined, their apprenticeship plans outlined the first 3 months for learning and practice. However, things moved so fast that we never completed a full outline. The screenshot shows our onboarding steps and tasks for the first month. We began with weekly stand-ups to chat about design topics and questions as they immerse themselves in the field. As we dug deeper into our projects, our stand-ups increased to twice weekly and evolved into something more comprehensive. We added icebreakers to build stronger connections. All of us like spicy foods, did hands-on Figma prototyping tutorials based on learning goals and design needs, creating graphics in Canva, and shared new design resources. Throughout the year, our stand-ups became more focused on our work. We spent more time brainstorming solutions to design blockers, teaching each other Figma tips and tricks, reviewing our portfolios, and improving stakeholder communication. All skills we continue to develop and strengthen together. We also shared the different aspects of design that has piqued our interests, such as user research and graphic creation. So we set aside time to explore as well as implement these interests into our work so that we can gain more experience. We're at the end of the year, and I'm super proud of the hard work Essie and Sophia have accomplished. They're running user interviews on their own, backing up their design decisions in meetings with confidence, and just being awesome full-fledged designers. The impact at Code the Dream will definitely last a long time. Next, I'll be talking about design resources. I created a design dashboard in Notion for the design team. It was supposed to be a centralized location for us to view our workload. And I had integrated Jira with it. We could view our project timelines, project requests with Airtable integration, a user research hub where we store user research interviews and documents, as well as info about the team and design resources we've collected throughout the year. Since I was using Notion's free version, I eventually reached a storage limit, leaving this project partially developed. This invitation led to a new project called D-Tools, Design Tools, our internal design resource website, which I'll discuss towards the end of the presentation. Since design is an iterative process, the systems that support it also change and adapt to meet the team's needs. My team didn't use it that much given the incomplete status, so I'm now in the iterative phase. Next, I'll briefly go over a few projects that I worked on to be mindful on time. I'll describe each project by stating the problem and its solution. As I'm going to have SAE and Sophia talk more through the design process. So Learns app, the first project I want to talk about is Learns app, version 1 and 2. The problem was the Code the Dreams coding program was scattered across different tools, making it hard for everyone to stay organized. And the solution is we designed the Learns app, a platform that streamlines learning for hundreds of students, mentors, and admin users. Now everyone can easily access what they need, whether they're learning, teaching, or managing. Next is Threat Map. Threat Map is a project partnered with Blueprint and North Carolina. And the problem was communities lack tools to track and prevent hate-based threats in their areas. And the solution is created a web map that helps groups monitor high-risk locations and share alerts and access safety resources. And I prototyped it here. So the map has the North Carolina map, and then you can filter by county, and then you can see the different groups in that county. And then if you go to groups, you can see more information about them. And then if you click on a group, you can see more details about them. And then definitions, just definitions that they used. And so, yeah, so that was the Threat Map project. Next is Vamos Outreach. The problem was the Vamos Outreach app had inconsistent design between the web and mobile. It had complex navigation, making it hard for outreach workers to use its features when helping farm worker communities. And the solution is we redesigned the web app with simpler navigation and a unified design to make features more accessible. This is just a sneak peek because I didn't want to show the full design. I'll have the Vamos team do that when they're done. But here's the landing page. And then this is also a screenshot of our file in Figma. And this is only a few pages, so you can kind of see the how big this project is. And yeah, so one of my favorite parts of being a designer is user interviews. And I was able to interview a handful of our Vamos users And I got to know them, got to learn how they use the app, learn their pain points. And this is what their data drives how the design, um, how we recreate the design. And then I was also fortunate enough to meet a few of these folks at the FarmWorker conference this past month. So it's just such a great opportunity to meet our users too, and just have that kind of connection. The last app I want to talk about is pretty fun. It was um, a Synthesize is a AI-powered app that transformed local murals into new digital art forms, including visuals, lyrics, and poetry. It's created by Code the Dream Labs and the Black Googles Network for our Juneteenth event this past year. And I'll go over the prototype. So this is the landing page, and so you can click on Create, and then so you can either take a photo of a mural or you could select one, then you click on Next, and then you can see, or you can choose like what type of art form you want. So what did I prototype this as? Song? No, poem. Okay. So it's synthesizing AI magic. And then yeah, so I think they use Gemini to the integrated Gemini for this app. And so yeah, so that's what it kind of looks like. Um, So that's it for me for now. I'm gonna pass it on to Asaya. Go ahead, take a wake up. Oh wait, hold on. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so let me know if y'all are able to see the slides. Thumbs up. Great, cool. So thank you, Kate. As Kate mentioned, the starting off point for me in my design apprentice journey was taking on courses in the Moon Learning platform and then ramping up from there with Code the Dream projects. I'll share with you all what this path looked like. To begin, the Moon Learning platform is a great tool to establish a design foundation and Figma practice. The courses, the ones that I took, are bite-sized, they're beginner-friendly, and they're a great starting point. The site provides many pathways, including a course on user experience, where students like myself learn about the laws of design or usability principles. Next up, the UI Design in Figma course is suitable for familiarizing and getting acquainted with the designer's go-to tool of the trade, which is Figma. So I began learning Figma from scratch and gained practice in applying what I learned in the classroom setting, so to speak, through the Moon Learning platform that eventually transitioned into a real-world project. One of these side projects was a web and mobile redesign for Poder NC, which is a nonprofit based out of North Carolina. And their mission is to work to educate and empower North Carolinians on public issues affecting the Latinx community. So their website went from being a dark, somber one to a responsive site, meaning it's accessible in both mobile and desktop view. And what's really awesome about this redesign is that it shines light on Poder's true vibrancy and energy. It's reflective of their branding, what they stand for, their values. With a team of 2 developers, we were able to make the design come to life in order to increase engagement and build community. So this project is really great for me as a starting off point because Poder already had the color scheme and their fonts in place. So I was able to explore a little bit more and find my creativity in this redesign experience. This client-side project also paved the way in gaining a bit more confidence working with Figma. So with my gradual practice in Figma, I jumped on board in helping out the Vamos team within Code the Dream to help create a help page with the end goal of increasing visibility and resources in order to have these resources be made more readily available for health and legal organizations that use the Vamos app. So I experimented with what the design layout could look like, which is the left side, the first design. by taking into consideration the elements that would be needed, such as the 3 hyperlinks, the Airtable bug form, and a contact me section. After getting inspiration from the online digital world, the left design layout was created and eventually implemented by a fellow developer in the team. So thank you, developer. Over time, though, this help page was revisited due to the Vamos's efforts of undergoing a redesign. And so also taking into consideration the necessary elements, again, the hyperlinks, the bug form, the contact me section, only this time, the fun challenge was respecting and aligning with the style already set up in place by the project's design lead. This was also the first time we were working in collaboration with 2 other designers. So we were figuring out the nuts and bolts of working together, which is also part of this collaborative journey. Okay, so I've just described to you, to summarize, my early design experience. Now let's talk about let's take a look at navigating the design process within Code the Dream projects, followed by the design handoff and what that looks like. At the heart of the design, as we all know, is the user. So given a situation where we're looking to improve the user experience, we as designers wish to further understand the issue at hand. And so we do this by undergoing a research phase, and that could look like many things. We can jump on board with our product manager to touch base. We can do one-on-one interviews, group interviews that segue into Google surveys. We can do site mapping, affinity mapping, to name a few. So first off, let's talk about site mapping. By site mapping, we're referring to a visual aid to get a better sense of a website's content and structure. So it's a bird's eye view that allows us to visually see how web pages connect and relate to one another, which helps us potentially identify gaps and/or what content to prioritize. It serves as a great aid to nurture a cohesive design so users can navigate websites easily with a clear logical flow. This tool we used during the Vamos redesign phase, and it allowed us to understand the current layout of the legacy Vamos design. As for affinity mapping, this analysis method is useful to uncover patterns and relationships in our data. It is done after user interviews, and it's a great tool to help synthesize insights from the interviews into actionable items based on the input from our users. So in the context of Vamos, Kate and I, after the note-taking and video recording sessions of our one-on-one virtual interviews with legal and health organizations that use the app, we worked on extracting key takeaways for Vamos-related pages, so for routes, for sites, visits, notes, and the admin page. This analysis helped us have a better sense of the design layout direction for the Vamos redesign. Okay, so we've gathered insights from our research. What next, right? Well, we dive into understanding best design practices to implement for our specific use cases or needs. And we do this by learning about specific design implementation, referring to go-to and reliable design resources in the field. So it's similar to what developers do when they look up a specific way of coding. Like back in the day, we would refer to Stack Overflow, right? So only this time, I'm getting feedback on best design practices from the Nielsen Norman Group site, from the Smashing Magazine site, which are 2 reliable and high quality design resources of information. I also get my feet wet. 1 second. I think my slides got frozen. Maybe if I try again. Okay. So we were on the, let's see. Okay. I somehow picked me up and stopped sharing my screen. So let me try again with, I think, okay, it's loading up again. I think that Figma stopped running for some reason, the slides. So we'll get that loading up again. Thanks for your patience. I'm still having trouble loading up, so maybe on that particular slide where I left off, if Kate can share her screen and I can just continue and then probably just say next slide or something to continue on the next slide because I'm still having trouble loading up my Figma. Okay. Hopefully it's working on your end.
Yeah, hopefully. Very slow.
Maybe it broke or something. It's a bug.
Yeah, it's not working on mine either. Hold
Yeah.
on.
Let me...
I have maybe just a few more slides. I could probably just talk about them, but then I don't know, and then transition over to, I guess the issue is, are you having issues with viewing Figma as well, Sophia?
Yeah, it's not that loading. And it's been like this. Like I've been trying to kind of see if I could do that while you were presenting really quick, and it's still not doing anything.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we're on slide 26, okay, for reference. Thank you. All right, so this is where we left off earlier. So we've gathered insights from our research. What's next? What's next, right? Well, we dive into understanding best design practices to implement for our specific use cases or needs. And so I mentioned earlier that, like say that developer is needs to find a way to get information code based, and they refer to Stack Overflow. So our version of that would be getting feedback on best design practices from the Nielsen Norman Group side, from the Smashing Magazine side, which are two reliable, high quality design sources out there for information. So I also get my feet wet doing quick wireframes, and that's getting a sense of, it's abstract, it's a basic representation of the design idea. It's often created using basic shapes and lines with placeholder content, and they're most cost-effective and easy to create. It's mainly used to get a sense of what the layout could look like for a page that hasn't been created yet. And so I'm looking for, like, let's say I'm looking for some feedback with my fellow designers doing stand-up. I usually ask them, is this the right approach? Is this the appropriate design direction to take before I heavily invest and commit to something that may just not work in the long haul in the grand scheme of things? So let's say I can't seem to find or validate an idea I have. I want to see confirmation in best design practices out there in the field because I want to include those best design approaches. But for some reason, I can't seem to find like adequate information out there and I'm in a time crunch, I'm in a pinch. What do I do? This is where I turn to my handy AI tool. So on the next slide, I will go ahead and share with y'all a wireframe example that tests out potential changes to Upstate's custom alerts page. This is their notification feature. And specifically, it's exploring what the layout could look like if we include a video recording section that expands to reveal two checkmark options. So this was early days of wireframing, possible iterations upon many for Upstate, and getting feedback from the design team, which was super useful in terms of figuring out next steps. As for the AI tool on the next slide, I present to you the one that I use, which is Claude AI. And mainly, I began using Claude when I was in the Vamos team at the end of my stint as a developer before I transitioned to the design team. And I use Claude to help validate an existing idea I have brewing when it comes to a design layout I envision and hope to create. So I want to get feedback. I want to make sure I'm on the right path in terms of best design practices out there, especially when I'm having trouble finding information. And I'm on a time crunch. So with Claude, I give it a detailed explanation of a specific design problem and the use case I'm looking to design for, all this based on prior research of mine. And then I request an ASCII outline representation of the suitable layout. I could ask for like a low fidelity mockup, but where's like, what's the fun in that, right? Like I want to also practice my craft in designing. So the left example is the ASCII proposed layout for Upstate's new video recording feature, and the example on the right reveals my take. I was really excited about the experience because it confirmed that it allowed me to confirm like the idea that I have, and it validated that confirmation. Okay, so on the next slide, okay, so we're ready to design. Here we turn to our trusted sidekick, Figma. I designed, and after feedback and iterations, it's time to prototype the design and get it ready for product management review. And I do this by working through Figma designs, getting some feedback with our design team through our stand-up check-ins, doing some iterations. And then when I feel like, okay, it's time to do some prototyping is when I work on prototyping. And so on the next slide, this is an example of what a prototyping tool is used for. So we have here the Vamos mobile mockups, which are high fidelity, and high fidelity mockups tend to be more of a finished product. It has a sense of like the final product in a way. And prototyping it's kind of similar to like what Walt Disney used to do, which is he as an animator would draw sketches in paper and then stack them up to create movement. That's in a similar way, that's what prototyping is. It's a simulation, a virtual simulation of the product from beginning to end. And so it showcases the user flow and what it could look like in order for us to understand the like potential issues that we may not be seeing. And so yeah, that's what prototyping is. As a summary, this is what we do for the design process. We identify a design problem, and this is based on a situation, a task that has been assigned to us within a Code to Dream project. And we end up doing research. We start looking at potential user interviews, one-on-ones, group interviews, maybe Google surveys, get insights to segue into warming up to the design phase, which means it's kind of like whenever you do a warm-up before you do a long run. That's sort of what I envision, and that's what we mean when we talk about the warm-up to the design, because we're wrapping up, we're getting our wireframes going, we're asking questions, we're doing like secondary research to finally transition into the design phase of using our Figma tool, and then handing it over to the after the design reviews are made, handing it over to the product manager, who will also do the design reviews, requested changes before specs are created, and it is turned over to the developer. So that's the spiel for the day regarding the design journey. I'll turn it over to Sophia, who will talk about her learnings as well. I think she just logged off a few minutes ago. Maybe it's so that she can get the Figma loaded up properly, because I also was having issues with it just now. So we'll wait a few seconds for Sophia to log back in.
While we're waiting, Asaya, maybe you can tell us what you enjoy most about the design process.
I think I enjoy everything. Well, I love the prototyping. That's my favorite because it gives you like a movement of like next steps and kind of getting a sense of the user journey and pinpoint what things you may be missing, maybe something that you didn't really in the initial stages didn't realize that may be useful for us to implement. And so it's a great way to kind of look at the kinks of what could potentially be missing and iterate from there. Mhm. I will say the researching phase can be a bit daunting, but it's a great experience to do. Recently, I did a group interview session, thanks to support by Kate, by Shaya, by Lori, and it was a group of maybe 8 folks, which was really a little bit daunting, but it was a great experience because it gets us out there to ask questions. We need to talk to the users and we need to get their feedback, which is important in order to extract those insights that turn into actionable items for the designs that we want to build out that are, user friendly.
Asa, yeah, everything you've shared has been really amazing. What if is something that you are most proud of that you worked on? I know, I'm sure all of it is also great, but is there one highlight that you could share with us?
Yes. Okay. So within the Vamos redesign, I didn't share it because, of course, out of respect, I know it's coming up and the Vamos team will be sharing their presentation soonish. But I particularly enjoyed working on the tags pages. There was a lot of iterations, a lot of prototyping, but that was my favorite because it was very challenging. It allowed me to just kind of jump in and create a lot of like drop downs and components that I didn't know how to do initially, but you kind of have to, you learn on the job and you ask questions and people are very patient. So thank you all team for, you know, just the support. I really appreciate it. And just that was the best experience because it allowed me to grow as a designer and it helped me gain a little bit of more confidence.
Thanks for sharing, Asia. While we wait, I think I'm gonna go towards the end. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, I wanted to share something I've been working on called D-Tools, and it's a project that's been a long time coming, and then it's a design tool for our team to access brand and design guidelines. So yeah, so let me do a little demo. Mhm. Can you guys see this? Okay.
Yes, I'm able to see it.
Okay, cool. Um, so this is a place where you can find all the branding stuff and design foundations, and then eventually I want to scale it to where the design team could come in for resources. So yeah, I'll just so this is the index page. I have the section here called branding, about our brand, and it talks about who we are, our tagline, the name, our mission, and then this is pending review, but like boilerplate copy, like if you ever needed to like talk to somebody about what Code the Dream is, we've got like a short version and a long version. Next is brand values. The brand values also connect to Code the Dream's values. So we have inclusion, community, growth, and impact. And then I'll go into our design foundation. So here you can find the brand guidelines for the logos, like the reasoning for the logos. This is from our previous brand guidelines document. How to use it in practice, alternate logo colors, logos do's and don'ts. And yeah, so I'm building this up. So it'll have like all these other things that we can use for cross teams. Yeah. And then let's see. Looking ahead, so these are the things that we want to work on the next year. So I want to complete details along with a basic reusable and customizable design system. Plan a workshop to help developers better understand the design process and designers' roles within Code the Dream projects. Invite UX product designers to share their collaboration experiences and workflows during our design stand-ups or Friday skillets, and then expand the design team. Is Sophia back on?
No, not
Okay.
yet. Yeah.
Okay. I will leave it open for questions. So let me know if y'all have any questions for us.
I have a question. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you for your work. That's pretty awesome. Thanks a lot. I just had a question. What kind of hurdles do you guys have in the collaboration with different departments across Vamos apps and different people with project managers and the like? I was just curious, what are the major challenges that you face in dealing with different people and assigning, finalizing decisions for a successful, design?
Yeah. Go ahead, Kate.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For my experience, I was thinking about when I joined the Upstate from Vamos, it was kind of getting a feel of their workflow process. And so it was different in that sense because you're trying to be like mindful and respectful of how that particular group does things, right? And so it's a matter of like working alongside them, but also getting feedback from the design team and making it somehow integrate into a seamless process. So it's always like a collaborative work in progress effort. It's iterative too.
Yeah, to add on to that, I think learning who the team members are, what their roles are, how they work, how the team does their stand-ups and their sprints. It's kind of getting to know the team holistically to get a sense of like how they work and what the processes are, and then just kind of putting ourselves in there so we can help them with anything with design. So like for example, in Vamos, as they started building the front end, we added like a new weekly meeting, and we created a design document for questions for the devs to ask us weekly, so that so that could be because it was one of the priorities that they needed to like build out the UI, and they had like all these questions. So kind of like building process too, so that we can get our work done together.
Thanks for the question, Miguel. Are there any other questions?
Yes, I have one question. How many screens do you have? Like 2 or 3?
Sorry, for which project?
No, I mean like what is your setup like? You just use one
For work.
screen or yeah.
So I have one big monitor, and then I have my laptop. What
Oh,
do you have at
so
say?
use 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess because I see like you need like to see a lot of windows in front of you, so probably you have like 2 or 3 monitors. Yeah, that's cool.
Are there any other questions before we wrap up?
I got got one more, but
I'm gonna go first. Sorry, Mia. I was curious about what the because I don't know anything about design, to be honest, but like when a developer has to try to recreate the design from like a ticket, for example, when let's say there's a designer added to a team, like y'all have been added to teams, what is like, is there a new do y'all like pass on the design to the developers to recreate, or is there like the Figma library already in use so that those things exist and that they just have to place them in the right place? I'm sorry, I don't even know how to answer this.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Yeah, like so within the Vamos team, whenever folks get onboarded to Figma, there's a developer mode setting. And so once you sign up to your Figma account within like the education plan, you have access to developer tooling. And then I work alongside the product manager, which is a blessing because Shai is really great at like getting feedback. We do requested changes, and then she works on creating the specs for the developers. And it's a really great feature because it allows like the detailed explanation of what the design vision is to come to life for developer implementation.
Yeah, and it also depends on the team too. So if some teams don't have like PMs, we'll do like the design to dev handoff, and we'll go over the Figma file itself. But yeah, it definitely helps when you have a project manager that kind of closes the gaps between, understanding the design and implementing it.
So it's still developers implementing the design and not like, okay, gotcha, cool.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Thanks for your patience. I was just wondering what the future would be in terms of, I guess, creating an identity or a branding or some kind of a human experience for CTD as a whole from a design standpoint, but also creating a specific identity to each of the apps, which is also wonderful. But I was just wondering if there's a process for that to kind of bring it all together, kind of like what Kate said, in a holistic approach where you wrap around CTD and this is what we present to social media, and this is how we want others to see ourselves, in the future.
That's a great question. I think for representing CTD, we have to like practice our values, and so being familiar with our values and incorporating that into our daily work, you can get a sense and like feel of our brand. And then with clients, CTD clients, the user interviews definitely help get a sense of like who the users are and what they want. And so yeah, I think it's just like getting to know your user, your client, and kind of bringing their essence out into the brand. And then, sometimes if we don't get it, we just like iterate like, here's a new set of colors. Like, are you feeling it? Are you vibing with it? Yeah, it's always iterative. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
So if you have room for one more question, please.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of your presentation, thank you so much. It was a great presentation, and I'm so happy and excited that we're going to have UX UI as part of our curriculum and classes. That's wonderful. My question is, do you have what kind of design system have you integrated into the curriculum? For example, when I was doing the practicum, I was introduced to, like, I was trying to figure out what kind of design system to use for our team. Since we learned CSS, then I became familiar with Tailwind CSS, and then I went ahead and used more advanced Daisy UI, Shadcn, and I tried to make a couple of test cases and brought all their design assets into our Figma. And then later, we became familiar with Material UI, and then I fell in love with Material UI, and I was like, if I use this, then I can also use Tailwind or CSS on top of that. And since then, any project we have been working on was using MUI. So my question is, what design system are you introducing for more advanced students and within your curriculum?
So for the design apprenticeship, I think I'd like to start off having the designers create their own design system, but that includes looking inspiration for within like well-known design systems like Apple's or Material Design. And I know some of the smaller projects we've had to build out our own design system. So it's basically just like a style guide and a set of components. And I know Learn's app, they use MUI, so that was like very helpful in designing, and it was like quicker because we used MUI's Figma kit. And so just being able to like take those components and then put them in what we needed for the new flows was definitely helpful. But yeah, like for us, like we want to start from the basics because I don't know if you're familiar with atomic design. It's like starting from using one small item and then growing it, and everything's all connected is something that I want us to learn and take and bring on with through their design journey. So yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
all for
that's
these questions. We want to be mindful of everyone's time because I know people have to hop back to their meetings. So yeah, we'll see you all next week, same time, same place for our next weekly cafe. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, y'all. Awesome job.
Thanks.